Alright, what's going on everybody, it's Liam here, and welcome to today's video on the channel. In today's video I have a commentary for y'all, and I'm going to explain how the resist slash pierce intersection works in PvP at the moment. This is a very common misconception I see in the community. A lot of players don't understand it and they think they do. And I'm just kind of here to explain how it actually works to kind of clear the air. I get this question a lot on stream, and I see a lot of players in the chat as well who just clearly don't know how it works. And yeah, we're gonna get right into it right away. So first things first, Pierce, right? Pierce doesn't directly counter resist at the moment. It goes through a shield first, and obviously a brace first, right? And I think the devs definitely should look into that if they're not already, obviously. And there's obviously no intersection on Pierce yet. I'm not sure if there will be in the future. Resist is intersected, but this is where it gets very confusing, where you need to pay attention in the video today. So look at my 53, it says 52, right? So you're thinking, okay, well it's just 52 then, right, Liam? Like if we take even trades, your 53 will be 52. But that's not the case, because Pierce gets factored in first. So for example, if I'm getting hit by 48 Pierce into this resist, I still have my 53 resist when it's an open hit, okay? Now, when this 52% right here kicks in, is when you're either hitting through a shield or your opponent is like an ice who has like 120 resist or something, right? So, ice right now gets 90 resist, right? They can brace for what, 115 or something? So let's take that 115 and subtract, you know, obviously like the 50 right there. So that's about 65 resist. So in that case, again, an open shot, if I'm hitting into that brace with this 48 pierce, they'll have 65 resist. But that 65 resist will be intersected, right? So it's only when you're hitting somebody who is literally immune, right? Or if you're hitting through a shield, essentially, is how it works. Like I said, I think a lot of people think that, you know, if you have 60 resist, it's 53. So, again, the example we'll take here is, if I get hit by somebody with 48 pierce, they think 53 is 52, but it's not the case, right? That's just how it is right now. And we've been in like a resist dominant meta for, I feel like an 8. Well, probably, I think, well, 2 ages now, probably. I've only been playing for about, like, an age and a half, so I wouldn't really know. But, resist this whole time is pretty much left untouched. This resist intersection, all it did, technically, like, objectively speaking, was it took the quote-unquote immune symbol out of PvP, but if somebody is still immune to you, you're still doing no damage to them. So it still is a problem, and that's why resist does need to be nerfed, right? You see damage be, you know, intersected pretty hard, obviously. And then resist is literally not affected at all, right? And I know a lot of players are like, oh, well then, you know, hitting through shields is super good. And I have two things to say about that, right? First thing is, if your opponent is hitting through shields, you would have to be playing horrible to lose that game, right? If I take a buffed Mocking Spiel and a Storm takes a double or triple buff or Soulcore through the shield, we're gonna do the same damage for about the same pips. So it'll scale, essentially, and the balance will still be winning, right? Or in Ice, for example, when they have like 80 resist, I'm gonna log on my Ice here. And Ice, their 80 resist gets chunked down to like, what, 63? Think about that. That is still 50% of the damage gone, and an extra 10% on a stat that is like, you know, crazy overpowered right now in the meta in the past couple of ages. So when KingStyle actually did the like hitting through shield resist intersection change, I think players just overreacted. KingStyle did it because they know resist is good, obviously. That's why they did that. But they're probably going to be looking into other ways to nerf resist in the future because, again, something does need to be done about it. You know, it's the best stat in the game for seasons and ages, essentially. And what we have right now, objectively speaking, it just doesn't work at the moment. So if I slap on my immune build on the ice, you see my 81 is 63. And now, this is where it's a bigger of a deal, right? Like I said with the previous example, hitting through, I still get 50% off the damage that it's gonna do, plus about a 13%, which again, that 13% is a huge deal. That is literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of health that adds up by the end of the game. And now another thing I'm gonna touch on in this video is kind of the problem with the gear audit and the meta, like when it comes down to the math of it. I know a lot of people think it's fine, but I mean, the math literally says otherwise. For example here, if I'm on my ice, I don't think I have the right stats on right now. I just don't. So keep that in mind. But basically, ice gets 150 damage with this resist, and perfect stats, and about 30 pierce. So for example, right, if I'm in ice hitting a storm wizard, we'll say, right, a storm has 54 resist. So my 31 pierce goes into 54 resist, right? So the storm will have 23 remaining resist, okay? And now the storm, who obviously has more than 31 pierce, they have 43 with their current meta build, obviously, right? The storm with that, they have higher pierce, but you gotta think of it. Ice has 81 resist, right? So ice is still getting about, what is that, 40, like 38 resist more? Something like that, 38 resist. So that's why you see the intersection, right? Both schools, for example, would have the same damage, right? But the ice is piercing more resist than the storm, and that number isn't even, and that's why you're seeing examples of ice is doing more damage than storm, proportionally speaking, for less pips. Same thing with life and fire, and a couple of other examples like balance and death, or it really just depends, but that's kind of the problem with the meta right now and the gear audit in general, essentially. Resist isn't punished. Every school has 150 damage, and obviously the damage cap is like a lot more harsh than, you know, resist, obviously. But yeah, that's why we're seeing ices do so much damage, and they just take no damage at the same time right now in the meta, unfortunately. You know, like A-Bomb's doing 2k without a buff, but meanwhile, Open Resolka with a crit is doing 2000 damage as well. It's like, what the hell, man? What are you talking about? It's kind of crazy, right? So yeah, the solution to this for King's Isle would either be to, well, the simplest one would be to penalize resist, and to make it out to be what the community, what some people in the community think it is actually make the 81 63. So when I take an open hit, even though they have 81, it'll be penalized and it'll only be 63. So, for example, if we go back to the storm example, if we trade open hits now, if they did this resist change, the storm and the ice would actually be piercing about the same of each other's resists with the same damage, and that's when the damage per pip would scale up, and that's when you would actually see, you know, the differences in your schools and the school identity and yada yada and stuff like that. But as of right now, defensive schools they take too little and they deal too much, essentially, and that's why you see them in basically like the top 2 win percentages for, you know, a lot of 5th age. But yeah, I helped you guys learn kind of how this stuff works. Again, I will reiterate, it only applies when you're hitting through a shield or if your opponent is completely immune. For example, again, if an ice has 120 resist and you have 40 pierce, that gets cut down to 80, and then that 80 would turn into 63 when you take an open hit, for example, right? Or if you're hitting through a tower, right, they'll get the, you know, the tower deduction, like the 6%, and then the 80 would turn to 60 through the shield, which is still, the 60 through a shield is still incredibly powerful, and yeah. But yeah, I hope I helped you guys learn something here. Again, it's a common misconception in the community. I don't know. I thought Blake made a video about this like a long time ago before he quit. But I don't know. I'm kind of surprised a lot of people don't understand it. But yeah, hope you guys did enjoy the video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I do post every single day, guys. I would appreciate it. And yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna get off here, grind some Overwatch, get some Masters, Master League, hopefully. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.